There is a myth about eating disorders that people with anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa are just doing it for attention. People have anorexia and bulimia, it may cause them to ask questions and make comments about their own weight, for example asking if they're fat. And this isn't for attention at all, this is so they can get validation because they've got the constant voices in the back of their head, they're compounded by them, they're with them 24/7 and they can't escape them, and it leads them to question their own weight. They're so uncomfortable with their image, the reflection in the mirror, that they ask these questions. So it's a very secretive illness. People with anorexia and bulimia do it in private. They lie to themselves, they lie to others, they lie to their friends, they lie to their family. Their life becomes one big lie. I first got diagnosed with anorexia when I was 8 years old. I hid my eating disorders from the world. I used to go to school, throw my lunch away, lie to my family, lie to the teachers. Everything I did, I lied about it. I didn't want anyone to know that I had this illness. Anorexia and bulimia do not do this so that they can get attention and questions, asking me about food because I didn't know, I was so young. And it shows from that of an early age that no, it wasn't for attention at all. And it's continued throughout my whole experience of anorexia and bulimia. I've never once done something openly for people to see it. It's always been a big lie to myself. They go through that much pain, that much hurt. Why would I lie to themselves and my family just to get attention? That is a myth that needs to be broken.
There's one topic that I've noticed that doesn't usually come up. I feel like maybe there should be at least one video specifically on binge eating disorder. Not the same as the others in certain ways. I mean, with certain types of bulimia, you binge eat and then you purge. With binge eating disorder, you don't always purge afterwards. It's like you're climbing a mountain. You slipped and you fell down a little, but you didn't fall to the bottom, and you can keep going up that mountain if you want to, and you can do it. The matter is, are you going to pick yourself up and keep going up the mountain, or are you going to let yourself fall all the way back down after working so hard to get up as far as you did? The point of it is that you fell a little, you did not fall to the bottom, you don't have to start all over again. You just got to pick yourself up and keep going forward, but you can do it.
There are many myths regarding eating disorders, and weight is perhaps the most serious of them. Refeeding as either the primary or a very significant portion of recovery treatment. Huge misconception that eating disorders are cured once a patient is weighed for several years, who can be at a normal weight and still suffer all of the mental sequelae that result from suffering from eating disorder. Difficult for sufferers, family, and friends who patients are outwardly no longer looking emaciated may think somebody is recovered and stop being concerned, or be outwardly seen in any way or by any symptom manifestation. It is also important to know that eating disorders are rarely cured. People may enter a period of remission after treatment, but many years later can relapse from a variety of triggers. So once again, weight restoration is not a cure. Another common myth is that eating disorders are by choice and derive vanity. Eating disorders have existed in history in many nations, not just well developed, and are becoming epidemic throughout the world. There is a stereotype that only rich, white, young girls develop eating disorders by choice to be fit. It's important to understand that these are actual medical conditions and there are measurable pathologies in the brain. Eating disorders can also develop independent of knowledge of what an eating disorder is. Often they manifest independent of any influence whatsoever from the outside.
When people say that the media causes eating disorders, I don't think they really understand the true implications of what they're saying. I'm not going to play dumb. I know that in this instance people mean media more as in glossy magazines with, a new diet plan every week. They mean skinny celebrities and emaciated fashion models. They mean advertising that pervasive rhetoric that if you were thin, your life would be better, that you would be perfect. An eating disorder is a psychiatric illness, is a mental disorder. It's not caused by looking at too many magazines. You can't catch it from skinny models. And I think that in saying that the media causes eating disorders, you're really dumbing it down. It isn't just a diet gone wrong. I know that sometimes even people with eating disorders themselves will say that I went on a diet and it all got out of control. But there's something else underneath that. There's always going to be something else underneath that. And by saying that the media is making it seem like eating disorders are shallow. It's making it seem like if you have an eating disorder, you are weak. Being an eating disorder seem like vanity. And it's not. It's not. It's really convenient for the whole world to see it like that because then they don't have to examine the underlying issue. Like, I'm not here to tell you what the cause of an eating disorder is because I don't know. Nobody knows. People are still saying, you know, is it genetic? Is it hereditary? Is it, you know, are you born a loaded gun and something pulls the trigger? The media cannot cause a psychiatric illness. Everybody is exposed to, for argument's sake, the same amount of media and images and bombardment of all this thinner thin stuff every single day. But not everybody develops an eating disorder.
Now my myth is you don't have an eating disorder unless you're underweight. Many different types of eating disorders, and not necessarily all of them are going to lead to underweight. Some people never get underweight, some people do. Anorexia, of course, is one of the common ones that people tend to think of with eating disorders. But there are many eating disorders besides the common anorexia and bulimia. There's eating disorder not otherwise specified, which is a broad range, which can include people with other eating disorder symptoms, but not all the criteria to meet a specific diagnosis. Also, besides under-eating disorders, there are overeating disorders, for example, binge eating disorder and compulsive overeating, which are going to lead to weight gain. So a lot of people that are overweight may have an eating disorder, but, you know, clearly aren't going to be underweight. So it's really stupid to, you know, for people to believe that you have to be underweight to have an eating disorder. And secondly, an eating disorder can affect anyone, any age, any size, any weight, you know, it can affect anyone. So to say that eating disorders, that you have to be underweight to have an eating disorder is a really stupid myth, and people should, you know, stop believing it because it's not true. So there you go.
Misconception about eating disorders, and many people believe that it is, quote, pretty girl disease. People see it as an attempt just to lose weight. Someone wants to look thinner because they feel ugly and fat. Eating disorders are more than just wanting to lose weight and look better. Eating disorders are a coping mechanism which is developed via stress, trauma, abuse, and self-hatred. It's a mix of biological and social factors that play together. One can develop an eating disorder. Eating disorders are not an attempt to be thin, to lose weight and have a healthy body. In fact, no number in an eating disordered mind is acceptable. To someone who suffers with an eating disorder, it is very highly likely that they also suffer from body dysmorphic disorder, which means that they do not see their level of emaciation, and when they look in their mirror, the only thing that they can see is fat, whereas their friends and family might see a skeleton, someone who is slowly dying. This week is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and I encourage all of you to speak up and reach out to create awareness on your Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and other social networking sites.